And hello, all, and welcome to Short and Smoky. But more importantly than that, welcome to the first episode on our new home here on the Cigar Lounge. Obviously, had some issues with putting these videos on my main channel, getting some age restrictions, and rather than get my entire channel in trouble, I decided the best route was to create an entire new channel dedicated to all things cigars, pipes, and, just smoking tobacco in general. So, for this very momentous occasion, we're going to be smoking something very special today, the God of Fire by Don Carlos. Now, this was actually gifted to me a few months ago by a coworker. I really have no idea what to expect from this cigar. All I know is that with this price tag on here of $27, I do believe this makes the most expensive cigar I've ever smoked. So definitely hope it's worth that price. But again, it was a gift, so I didn't pay anything for it. So shoot, if it gets a 5 out of 100, I guess I really can't complain because it's free. So, anyways, we're going to go ahead and cut right into this and let's get smoking. All right, so from the very start, I'm getting overloads of chocolate and some dark coffee on this. So, really looking forward to this smoke. Those are the flavors I always look forward to in a cigar. And I hope that you can hear me over this wind. I tried to position myself to be out of it, but I know my onboard mic on this phone is not so great when it comes to the wind. But yeah, getting a lot of cream in there, some toast as well, but definitely overload of coffee there and some really nice chocolate. Just a hint of pepper on the finish and really good amount of cream in there as well. Now, unfortunately, I am going to have to knock a couple points off for the appearance because, as you can see, there was a crack in the foot of this right from the start. So, not really too big a deal, though. I'll burn right through that here in just a second. But so far, I am really loving this, and I am just getting started. So, stay tuned, and we'll see what we think after the first third. All right, so moving into the second third now. Uh, Along the first third, flavors for the most part kind of stayed the same, but that pepper has completely smoothed out at this point, and it's just becoming very buttery, very smooth smoke. A lot more cream in there now. And I am pairing this today with some Godiva milk chocolate. And I don't think I could have made a better choice to pair this with. Definitely bringing out all the cream in this cigar, and definitely all of that chocolate. So we're going to go ahead and keep moving into the second third now. I have had to touch it up just a little because where that crack was made the burn a little bit funny, but it's evening out for the most part now, and just really a great smoke so far, and kind of scares me because of this price point. But we're going to keep on going, and I'll let you know what I think here in just a minute. So that about wraps up the second third of this cigar. Still really hitting on those buttery, creamy notes in there. Some nougat coming in there as well. And on the retrohale, there's just some hints of toffee and a very faint dark cherry note in there. Pepper is starting to come back just a little on the retrohale, right on the finish. Uh, but yeah, still really enjoyable. Um, the burn is still not so great on this one, but it is a very windy day out today. As you can see, I had to go ahead and find my jacket here. Feels really nice out today. The air is honestly perfect, but that breeze is pretty cool. It's about upper 50s today, and so it feels really nice, but it's that wind is not so great on these cigars. But I'm going to go ahead and finish this out, and I'll let you know what I think of the entire thing here in just a second. And that, I think, will do it for the God of Fire by Don Carlos. Now, I don't know what else to say, but this came very close to being my number one rated cigar of all time. And of course, after doing a little research, I found out the reason for the price point on it is they're only made in small batches once a year, and this was a 2018 edition. Yeah, so they're very limited and very pricey and almost impossible to get your hands on when they do come out. So, yeah, go figure. Of course, my second favorite cigar is going to do that. Just like my favorite cigar of all time isn't even made anymore. So, I have a very limited stock of those, and when they're gone, they're gone. But again, this was the God of Fire by Don Carlos, sporting an Ecuadorian Habano wrapper with Dominican filler. This was a 50 ring gauge, 5.2 length Robusto, and it was the Tubo variety. And real quick on this, I think this might be the reason for the crack. I just started noticing, can't really see it on the camera, there's a very, very faint line where you can see it's supposed to close, and I think that's, the length of the cigar, but it goes in ever so slightly more, and probably just over time, that pressure ended up cracking the foot, but it really didn't knock off a whole lot from that. Now, I've had this cigar in my humidor about 5 months now, but again, as a 2018 edition, so, this thing has probably been sitting in whoever else's humidor for a few years now. And again, I did not purchase this. There's a sticker on here from a place called Scottish Tobacco. No clue where that's at. And I just realized that I've had this entire video backwards, so hopefully I can fix this reverse in editing. But at a normal cost of $27 for this cigar, again, the most expensive cigar that I do believe I've ever smoked. I can't name another one higher that I've personally smoked. But it was a gift, so hey, I cannot complain, even if this was one of the worst cigars. But into the rating here, this absolutely beautiful band portraying Prometheus being bound and attacked by the eagle is definitely going to get a solid 5 because I love intricate artwork on these cigar bands. And the appearance, with the exception of that little crack in the foot, almost flawless. So I only knocked off a couple points for the appearance, giving it an 8. And I'll get into my rating on the price here in just a second. But as for the smoke itself, perfect 10 for the draw. Construction, another perfect 10. Smoke output only knocked a point off because it did kind of vary in certain spots. But after I would touch it up and relight it, was perfect once again. And I did knock a couple points off for the burn. Again, it is a pretty windy day out. Temperature's fine, humidity's great, but I believe that wind is what gave it such a bad burn, that and that crack. So I only knocked off a couple points there. And that is honestly what I believe hurt this cigar and knocked it out of my top rating of all time. Because the strength, flavor, and body all get a solid 10 for me. And I smoked this entire thing, giving it a 5. Into some of the tasting notes. Again, heavy notes of chocolate, coffee, cream, some toast, and just some notes of pepper here and there throughout it. Moving into this buttery, creamy nougat with some toffee and cherry. And then in the final third, that pepper did come back on the finish, and some very strong notes of fruit came in there, and very light earth. And right towards the end, just some faint notes of bitter espresso, some salted caramel, and savory notes with wood and leather right on the very end of the cigar. So you can see it hit on almost all of my favorite flavors in a cigar. But as for the price, again, this thing is $27. I didn't pay for it, so, I can't really knock off too much. But I've smoked better cigars at less than half the price. My favorite cigar of all time was only $12. And of course, I believe next in line would be the Cuban Hoya de Monterey Epicure number 2. And that was only like, I think, $9, $10 they typically retail. Again, that was another gift. But with all that being said, I just can't knock much off of that price because this was such an incredible cigar. So I only knocked 1 point off of the price, giving this a final score of 94. I've only had 2 cigars to ever rank higher, I think. One being that Hoya de Monterey, and then my favorite cigar, the Hoya de Monterey El Torcedor, which I believe had a 96. So if not for that crack in the foot, I believe the appearance would have been flawless, and I think the burn would have been better as well. So this might have very well have been very close to a perfect 100 rating. So again, thank you, my coworker Christy. Thank you for giving me this cigar. I believe she just found it in a room that some guest at the resort I work left it at. So yeah, and thank you to that guest for leaving this. Whoever you are out there, thank you for introducing me to this cigar, but at the same time, I'm kind of mad now because it's so hard to get this, and who knows when I'll ever get my hands on another one. So again, if you do get your hands on one of these, definitely give it a try. But, don't hoard them all. Save some for the rest of us. So again, I just want to thank you all for joining me for this premiere episode of Short and Smokey here at its new home on the Cigar Lounge. If you like this kind of content, please give me a like on this video and please subscribe to the channel for all the more videos to come. It'll really help me here in the future, and who knows, maybe one day I'll be able to do this for a living. That would be nice. So again, thank you for joining me here today on Short and Smokey, and I will see you all next time. Stay smoky, my friends.